Hello, top of the morning to you. Is that Irish enough for you? I'm trying out a new catchphrase. Can't think of one. Sean's got the horror corner. What do you think, guys? I need a new catchphrase. So, yeah. Or I need a catchphrase. I don't have one. Right, I'm here to do my weekly update of what I've been watching, reading, whatever for the past week. So, firstly, I want to say a massive thank you to the feedback on my Shocktober movie review video that I put out. I've actually pretty much, I think, filled the 31 days now. I haven't had to pick anything myself. I've had so many cool suggestions. I'm going to basically take from your guys' suggestions, and if there's any left, I'll pop some in myself. But to be honest, the last time I looked, which was the morning after I did the review, or did the video, I think there were like 27, so, and that's not counting someone's suggestion of the Halloween series, so I did want to get that watched before the new one comes out anyway, so I'll probably start that before the beginning of October, given that it comes out on the 19th. So, anyway, thanks so much, guys. I was just blown away by your feedback. So, what have I seen for the past week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does anybody know what that's from? First movie I watched. I've been watching the VHS series. And the only one I hadn't been able to get my paws on was VHS 2. I finally managed to get hold of it. So that's the 2013 version, the one that everyone says is the best of the three, and yes, I concur, it is the best of the three. I did know something that was going to happen in this that I didn't know in advance because we discussed it on our live stream a couple of weeks back. And it's that thing where, as a horror fan, you get completely and utterly appalled at the death of animals, especially dogs, for me. But if it's a person, that doesn't matter. But they killed the dog. Sorry if you haven't seen VHS 2, they killed the dog. Wasn't amused. Nice little fluffy, cute, lovely little dog. I slouched so much. Isaac had his first day back at school today, had an awesome day. Seems perfectly happy, so that's all good. Next, I watched Jurassic World. That's not the most recent 2018 one, which I have seen in the cinema. We went back and watched the 2015 one because Isaac wanted to see it. He's got a real fixation with the dinosaur Blue and with Chris Pratt's character, which I always forget, and he shouts at me. He loves them, so yeah, we watched that, which is just so it's okay. I like the Jurassic World films. They're good fun. Next was Alpha, which I saw at the cinema also. I've done a separate review on this if you want to check it out. It's an amazingly awesome, fantastic movie. It's kind of a kids movie, but I don't know, it's a 12A. It's fully subtitled because they don't speak English. The language that is spoken is fictitious, and this is a story about a young boy that gets separated from his tribe while out hunting. He comes of age, it's his first hunt. His family think he's dead, and he has to get his way back to his tribe through perilous, like, loads of animals. The snow comes and he befriends an alpha wolf. That's all I'll say, but it is amazing. I love this movie so much, guys. If you get a chance to catch it. It's awesome. Next is one there's quite a buzz about at the moment, is Summer of '84. I've seen loads of people talk about this one, and the hype is warranted. It is really good, a lot of fun. Obviously set in 1984. Has that real 80s feel, which I absolutely love. I think I discussed before, I think a lot of people are getting tired of that whole set in the 80s thing. Personally, I'm not. I'm an 80s child. I grew up in the 80s. So I'm all for it. I love it. The acting performances were awesome. The story was fantastic. It just took me right back to being a kid, watching horrors with my dad on a Saturday night. All of those awesome horrors. I don't know, Silver Bullet, Poltergeist, even things that weren't horrors like Back to the Future, just took me right back to that time. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So that's Summer of '84. Next is one called Home Movie. This is a 2008 found footage movie. I think someone recommended this on our live stream when I was saying that I liked found footage. If I find who recommended this, I will strangle them. It was awful. It was horrendous. I'm trying to remember them. Oh yes, I remember now. This is a movie about a couple that have got 2 children that seem to be starting to act a little weird. Bits of it I liked, but all in all, it was like an hour and a half's viewing for 2 minutes payoff, which to me doesn't equate. I didn't really like it. It's basically your typical movie about evil kids and parents coming to the conclusion they've got evil kids. That's it. Next was probably one of the worst films I've watched in years, Selfie from Hell. This popped up on Netflix. It's one of the ones I hadn't seen. It is a 2018 movie. Upon writing on Facebook, this movie is awful, don't watch it, I had a couple of people say, yeah, I agree, I watched it, I reviewed it, it was terrible. I have nothing to say positive about that movie. It's terrible, it makes no sense, the effects make you laugh. It's basically based around the dark web, but it is not frightening, it's just stupid. And it's to do with taking a selfie and being almost condemned to death. It made no sense. I can't even begin to tell you what it's about because it made no sense. If you want to watch something awful, watch Selfie from Hell. Next is the movie I've seen a lot of people talk about. Oh, have I got glare on my face? I should have shut the curtains. Tag. It's a comedy movie with your usual suspects that turned up in, I think, maybe Horrible Bosses or The Hangover. We've got some guys that were in that. No Owen Wilson, unfortunately. And no Bradley Cooper. But it was okay. It was perfectly pleasant comedy. Comedies are not my thing, generally. I've got a very particular sense of humour. I like See No Evil, Hear No Evil. I like Dirty Little Scoundrels. I like, you know what I mean? I like that sort of era of comedy. I do like more like Step Brothers, made me roar. I absolutely love that. But it's quite hard. These sort of run-of-the-mill standard American comedies that keep getting released. The first Hangover was brilliant. The second two were just mediocre at best. This is on league with one of the second Hangovers. It just wasn't funny. I didn't laugh out loud once. These comedies, and I'll put this alongside, what was the one earlier in the year that everyone was ranting about? Was it Game Night? I put that alongside this. It's perfectly pleasant to watch as a story, but it's not particularly funny. It was just okay. I don't know what all the fuss is about. And I would like to see, is it Isla Fisher or Isla Fisher? Isla Fisher doing something other than playing the manic girlfriend in a movie. I'm sure she's got the acting talent to take it a little bit further than that, and I'm just tired of seeing her play that stereotypical role. Next was a movie I reviewed for Geek Legion of Doom, so the full review is over there. This is Johnny Gruesome, quite a new one. It's due for release on VOD in October, DVD release in January of next year, and this is about a young lad at school, heavy metaler. He is killed, and that sort of comes back for a revenge story to get revenge on those who wronged him. This has got a good idea, a good plot, the writing's fine, the acting's fine, the special effects just rip the arse out of it. They've got CGI in that is so bad, pupils at film school could do better than that. And the awful thing about it is it didn't need it. And the makeup is pretty poor as well. I don't want to go into loads of detail. If you want to know more about that movie, I will put a link in the description. I have reviewed it in full. There's a couple of clips in there on Geek Legion of Doom. Next movie, I say the word movie, but it's only a half-hour long, I think. It's called Splatter. Dear me. This is rivaling Selfie from Hell. It's a half-hour thing on Netflix. It was just there, and I thought, oh, what's this? Corey Feldman is in it. It's just the oddest thing. He has died, and it is him talking to people on video, obviously just before he dies or kills himself, and he has gathered people in the room that have been in his life, like his girlfriend, his lawyer, his manager, his friend, and he is telling them what he bequeaths to them. I won't say any more, but it is shockingly awful, and I don't mean gory, fantastic effects, I mean it's just dire, folks. So that's Splatter. Then again, it's only half an hour long. It's, you know, you may as well watch it, see what you think. I wanted to check it out because it was a relatively big name and it was short, so I thought, we'll give it a go. Rubbish. Next one is one everyone out there probably has seen apart from me, The Monster Squad. My son Isaac is 7. We're vainly trying to get him into horror. It's not really happening. He is quite a timid child when it comes to things like that. He watched Jaws recently, which he did enjoy. He wouldn't go to the cinema with me to watch The Meg. He thought that was a bit too much. But a lot of people recommended the Monster Squad to us. So we sat down at the weekend and all three of us watched the Monster Squad and I loved it. Finally, I understand the YouTuber name Wolfman's Got Nards. I just thought that was a really funny name up to this point, but I didn't know where it came from. Obviously, it comes from the movie The Monster Squad. Love it. I was a bit shocked, the wrong word. It was really interesting to see how the PC thing has changed. Just a lot of the words that were used, like they constantly referred to the little boy that was overweight as the fat kid, or they used the word faggot a lot. It's just it's interesting to see how things have changed, and things that perhaps we can't really do and say anymore were in full effect in this movie. So that was interesting. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was such a good movie. I loved Frankenstein. He was just awesome. I liked it all, actually. I liked Dracula, I liked the Wolfman, I liked the Mummy, I liked all of it, and the effects were fantastic. So yeah, if you haven't, I think Sean Ershin's the only person I know that says they hadn't seen it. Sorry Sean if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you said that you hadn't seen this one. Watch it. It's such a lot of fun. It's just really, really good fun. Last two, Boar, 2017 movie about the giant killer, you know those hairy pigs, those like wild boars, and it's massive and it goes about and kills people. This one, I've seen a few people review this. Jen's Reviews from the Grave reviewed it, the Horror Miser Monty G, Spooky Astronauts, I think maybe, no I'll not say that because I'm not sure. I like this movie. I like the first half a lot more than I like the second half. I know that's something Monty, the Horror Miser Monty G, found also. You just didn't care enough about the family at the end of the movie to get properly involved in what happened. The effect of the boar is pretty bad. It looks very stiff, it doesn't move a lot. Just the mouth and the tusks, the teeth aren't very good, but the effects with regards to the damage that it does to people is fantastic. Like one particular scene, we see the after effects of an attack, and I thought the makeup, the effects, the practical, thank goodness, effects was fantastic. So it's just a bit of a shame that the actual boar itself wasn't that hot, but the rest of it kind of made up for it. It's an Australian movie. It's one I would recommend you watch, actually. It is a good movie. I just preferred the first half to the second half of that one. And lastly, of movies I watched, last night I sat my husband down and made him watch Hereditary. It's finally out now, we can watch it. I'd seen this at the cinema and adored it. I loved it. It's one of those movies, quite divisive. I haven't heard anyone say, oh, well, it was alright. It's a case of, I love this, or I hated this. I think it's kind of, from what I've seen in the horror community and amongst friends, it's maybe a 85-15% split, with not so many people hate it, but most people love it, but the people that don't love it hate it. So Darren really enjoyed it, I'm glad to say. The only thing he pointed out as a criticism is something that I also felt. This isn't really spoiling the movie if you haven't seen it. There is the use of CGI flies in this movie at one point, and they're just a bit naff. You think, why did they not just release some flies and, you know, or maybe not even have them, maybe have the sound effect and not show. Just the CGI flies were a bit naff. But apart from that, awesome. I enjoyed it just as much the second time around. I picked up some little things I had missed the first time, little things that I thought weren't obvious the first time were very obvious the second time. I suppose they say hindsight's a wonderful thing. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Really liked seeing Darren's response to particular scenes that I loved, sort of waiting for him to like see it and see what he thought. So yeah, he loved it as well, so that's cool. So that's all I've watched this last week. What am I listening to? I've just lifted two at random that I'm listening to, as well as The Last Showman, which is in the car, the soundtrack. I don't care what people say. I love The Last Showman soundtrack. It's awesome. Right. And what's his name? Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's voice is just brilliant. He's got such a rich voice. I love it. Zac Efron also sings in it, and he is actually trained He first obviously came up in High School Musical, so he's well used to singing, but when you listen, there's a track in particular called The Other Side that's got Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron singing to each other. They're like having a barter, and Hugh Jackman's voice just completely trounces, whatever the word is, he's awesome compared to Zac Efron. Just the richness and the tone of his voice is beautiful. So anyway, I lifted these two as ones I'm also listening to. If you haven't heard of Apocalyptica, you're missing out. They are a cello. Can you see? They play cellos, but in a way that you've never seen before. They are a heavy rock band. They play their cellos like heavy metal guitars. This actual album is all Metallica tracks. I don't know if you can see at the bottom there. So we've got like Enter Sandman, Master of Puppets, Harvester of Sorrow, just loads of really cool Metallica tracks. I first saw Apocalyptica support Rammstein at Sheffield Arena when I lived in England. I had no idea who they were. So obviously I'd gone to see Rammstein, so they're known for their massive stage shows and the pyrotechnics, and these stools were sitting on stage and that was it. And I'm thinking, what on earth? And then these lads walked out with cellos. And I'm thinking, this is probably the most ridiculous support band to a main act that I've ever seen. You're bringing out cellos before Rammstein, and then they started. And every tiny little bit of doubt that I had was just blown out of the water. I since went to see them in their own gigs, and they're amazing. Really, really good. Seen them a few times now. They never cease to impress. I think they did release some tracks with vocals. The singer from... what's that? They sung In the Shadows. It was #1 for ages. The Rasmus. He sung on one of their tracks, I think, and him, as in the guy from the band Him, whose name I've forgotten, he sang on one of their tracks also. But generally they don't have vocals, it's just the actual music. But if you look them up on YouTube, you'll probably find a few that have got singing tracks on. And this one is quite a lesser known band called Lennon. I don't know if you can see that. Female vocalist. There's a song on this called My Beautiful. They've actually taken the album version mostly off YouTube. The versions that I've been able to find isn't the version I've got here. And that song is just absolutely amazingly beautiful. If I ever got a chance to sing again with a band, I would want to cover that song. I love it, it's amazing. I will try and have linked a little bit behind me, because if I put a clip in, it'll probably, God knows, I'll do one or the other. But Lennon, check them out. They're like a rock band, American. I used to have a friend that was a DJ in America, and he got me onto them. So yeah, really good band, and I luckily saw them too, and my friend got me and my husband in early for sound check to watch them, and they played My Beautiful for sound check, and I was just very happy. What else? Right, I'll end with, I usually said that I'd showcase something each month that I have that I really like, that I think might interest you. It may not, but this month I'm going to show you, I found this the other day. The Illustrated Book of Torture. Sorry, the Illustrated History of Torture, from the Roman Empire to the War on Terror. This book is so interesting. I mean, frying, boiling and roasting, really. But some of the stuff in here, and they've got like little fake documents and things in here. And it's like illustrations and the like. And it's so interesting. I'm sure me poking about sticking things back in pockets isn't particularly interesting. Well, there you go. You can fast forward this bit. And what else? Just got so many little bits and pieces. There's some more cutting and sawing, pendulum, crushing, and then it's got pictures of the actual... People's gonna think I'm sick in the head. But there's like so much interesting stuff in here. It's a full history of all the stuff. Like there's waterboarding, and then there's like obviously the index. You can look up anything you want to see. But it's a really interesting book, and it's got a pretty cool cover. Myself and my husband, when we went on holiday to Prague, went to see the Museum of Medieval Torture, which was so interesting. anyone that's on my Facebook, I have an actual album in my photographs that has got the photos we took at that museum. Some of them are a bit stupid, granted. I may try and insert a couple of photos here. You can see the complete reverence that was shown on these medieval instruments of torture by my husband, wearing a funnel on his head as a hat. I got inside an Iron Maiden, not quite understanding that the spring-loaded system was still working. When I got out, I thought, oh, something really nasty could have happened there. See, we got in. There was no one else in the entire museum, and there was no one about, so we actually stepped over the ropes and went in and touched things and stuff that we shouldn't really have been doing. But it was such an interesting museum, and most of the things that we saw are factored on here. So yeah, really interesting stuff. So I will leave it for today, for this week. I have been trying to in vain put together a trailer for my channel. I don't want it really to feature clips of me talking rubbish. That's not very interesting. I want it to be something that's fun to watch. So I'm trying to compile together some clips at the moment that I think you might enjoy watching. And maybe clip it down a bit and have a little intro to my videos. Although I find intros are really cool once you watch them a few times, but if you have a long intro at the beginning of your videos, people probably get bored looking at it, so I'm not too sure what to do with that respect, so we shall see. I might do a very short version in front of my videos, we'll see. But thanks for watching. Any comments on any of the movies I mentioned, gratefully received below. And that's all I can think of at the moment. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching if you got this far. And it's over and out from Lisa Lives.